Judging on the simple basis of a quick reference, it totally makes sense to me why for a Mortemia offering, Alessia Scolletti, given her history, would be a collaborative appearance. And maybe her credits will speak to this as a vocalist, right, on other regards. But then, as I understand, she did substitute via the 2022 Sabaton Open Air show for the vocal role for Sirenia when Emmanuel Zoldan, therefrom was otherwise indisposed. I don't remember what the reason was, at least from what I read, even though that was given. But on appearance's sake, I'm like, well, that's a story that, when you consider her names appearing on via the Hour of Wrath on the Pandemic Pandemonium sessions, totally makes sense. And maybe that was true for some other artists, that there was also similar dynamics, or maybe again it's the talent that more speaks to her qualifications of appearing here, and that could easily be, an aspect. It's been true for every artist that's appeared here via the Mortemia work, which I have loved exploring, whether it be in past experiences to this first album that was my initial introduction to Mortemia, or the presently unveiling the COVID Aftermath sessions. But we're making a return journey, as I've said previously, for multifaceted reasons. Not just on the Mortemia basis, who I've loved entertaining as an artist as I deepen my bond in association to the European rock and metal landscape, which is such an advantageous space, I've said many times, and Mortemia has been a wonderful solo project of humor to set an ease of access for anybody who's approaching on a first-name basis. Norwegian-based gothic symphonic metal envisioned by Morten Wieland. He's more the mastermind behind this project is a foundational member of Sirenia as well. I highly recommend them, as I gave reference to earlier. This is his solo creation of sorts, right? But again, there's that collaborative essence. He more so manages the musical side with occasional vocal appearances. Generally on this album so far, it's been, I believe, every single work, at least unless one track or two escapes me. Maybe different extensive presentation, of course, and appearance. But it's a collaborative project, right? With music and, of course, the vocals. And that's where I've termed the Mortemia model comes to play. The regard, again, of why I find these projects in particular so fascinating to entertain with you on a first impression basis. In my own journey of self-discovery into the European rock and metal territory, this is an excursion for me that I took independently and one that I do not regret in any way. As I love doing with music in general, it is, as I've said many times, the first love in my life, and I think it's better enjoyed in company, as we're doing with Mortemia. And I welcome anybody approaching, anyone who perhaps has taken the journey alongside me, or if any of you are like, I've never heard of Mortemia before, I've never been introduced. Maybe this is a track that'll bring you into the fold. And I do recommend, by the way, that you pursue the entirety of the Pandemic Pandemonium sessions, and really anything from Mortemia I would reference as an advantageous listen for you. But this will be perhaps your first step. With the Hour of Wrath, I like the name. This is following up on two dynamic works, one of which we just consulted being the introductory, the enigmatic sequel, with Madeline Lillegestam. But to see how Alessia Scolletti appears here, I'm curious, and already it sounds promising. Not just with the highly capable, obviously, Sirenia attribution, but she is an Italian vocalist. There's a couple groups that I've humored so far, but I really liked in that space. But she is also from pretty notable names. A couple of these I think have appeared before. Alex Mele, Aerthea, I think. Again, I welcome clarification down below if I'm wrong on any of these pronunciations. Era is also of connection, which that one I guess is now the second appearance of somebody who's been affiliated. I was told by somebody on a previous band at Visions of Atlantis, who I've also spotlighted before, that one of their lead vocalists, Mikeli, I think it's how you pronounce his name, he also, I believe, is a part of Era. So now I've explored at least two other artists. I'll have to note them on the consideration list for later. As I've done with the Mortemia model, right? That's the framework of why I love this project so much, or really anything, again, of the Mortemia essence with the collaborative respect. Let this be the initiation, as Mortemia was at one point on a first introduction basis, right? Let's be introduced by name to so many of these talents I've not yet humored in my life. And then one day, broaden out. It's the same respect that I've given every artist so far that of what I've humored with everybody written down. If I've not gotten to them yet, it is my consideration to do so. And perhaps Alessia Scolletti one day will get the same respect. Maybe this is a first introduction for you in general to Mortemia as well as Alessia Scolletti. Maybe some of you are familiarized to both, right? Yeah, I welcome anybody's company, irrespective, though, to how we approach. In general, we're going to experience this work together. The Hour of Wrath. Great mood already implied by the number. That fits the Gothic attribution of a more tragic piece on narrative. Let's see where it goes together, at least what I can make out. I haven't seen if there's been any published lyrics yet, but I'm sure we're able to pick things out of this number, which, judging by the evolution of what we've witnessed together via the Pandemic Pandemonium sessions thus far, I think is going to be so capable. That's at least my superstition. Let's humor it together. Key shift, a bit of a dissociation from the previous number, Death Turns a Blind Eye, but it works. Still has that Mortemia throttle, again, of the harder aggression. With good key choices. I love that piano and keyboard intersection. Really worked. Good echoes. Good entryway. That was good. I love the score's construction. Totally makes sense why she filled in for Emma. The voices are similar. That's incredible. I love her range. And that accent is so natural. Those keyboard medleys are really good here. Let's see if we hear it again. It's so delicate. It's just right in the background though. It's such a good facet to the song. It's a very traditional Mortemia number, but I love the pacing and effective creativity choices. Again, the symphonic attribution. That's great. The layering on the vocals too is a good choice. But mixed with that reach, man. A really heavy break, but that works. I really like this one. That grunge on the background with the vocals, the death growl, it works so well. And that hasn't really happened before, I don't think. Evenly paced. That's such a haunting presence. I love it though. It's a beautiful medley. I love the isolation on that line. It really works on the vocal. It's subtle vibration really works. Good finish. Dynamic number. I love that one. I can't think of the mood right now or what it's reminding me of specifically. There's something with that piece. It connects on key choice. It's reminding me of something. But there's a thread to it that just has this connection. I'm not sure what it is, but it works. Let's phrase it for simplicity's sake right now, just to make it, just to find approximation of how I'm feeling. The tragedy of the number, the haunting presence to it really works. I love the medley though, the choices there. Again, dynamic symphonic range and variation of assets of what Mortemia normally implies. It's strictly a Mortemia number, again, it has that essence to it. You know clearly when it's a project of that or Sirenia stock. Morten Veland, at least again for me on musical craftsmanship, incredibly distinctive. I love the number here. The mood of it, the pacing, effective reach, glowing vocal placements. That background death growl really worked, and that has not yet appeared, I don't think, or if it has, I haven't noticed it, but it's really subtly used if so. I love the emphasis on it though here. It works so well. And the layers as well to Alessia's voice, especially on the higher inflections. makes total sense why she filled in for Emmanuelle Zildjian. Totally. The voices are incredibly similar. And Emmanuelle Zildjian is a French, I believe, operatic vocalist. If you've listened to their works and you're familiarized to how Emmanuelle Zildjian sounds, you could interchange both artists. And I mean, they do sound slightly different, to be fair, but this one has a bit of a lighter reach on the higher vocals. Emmanuelle's goes more into a vibration that's a little more noticeable, but on that lower pitch, it sounds so similar. Again, like I said, you could switch it on that respect, and it doesn't sound in any way disorienting to be like, oh, it sounds like somebody else. Maybe it's such a sufficient fill-in. But on her own standing, she's great. I love the presence of this number, though. Oh, it's just gorgeous. The piano medley, the keyboard effects, it works. I can't put my finger again on why it's causing me to have this rewind experience in my head of key placement, but there's something it's driving at in connection. But I love the established mood of it. It's a great symphonic middle number. One of my favorites on the project thus far, in my opinion. The craftsmanship here is top tier. True statement of Mortemia, generally, but this number, I think, is definitely appreciable. I'd love to hear your thoughts down below on that piece, right? And from whatever angle you approach, as I've always mentioned, really the credit of any artist. Longtime Mortemia fan, established listener, or fresh initiate encounter. If that was a fresh initiate encounter for you, ooh, that's quite a tease. Again, I recommend you dive deeper, perhaps with me, or you solo if you choose. With the Pandemic Pandemonium sessions, it is worth your time, or really anything from Mortemia generally. That number, though, is one of the staple favorites for me. I absolutely love it. I think the key choice works, the vocals are just beautiful there. And a first introduction to Alessia. I can see why she's got such noteworthy credits in other respects. And again, those other groups, I'll see if I can bring them on eventually. You know, God willing, it's a long list of groups that we recommended in my European metal and rock journey, so it's a steady one by one journey, but I'll keep note of them for later. I'd love to explore Alessia's vocal talents in a greater depth, because that was a beautiful first introduction. Another Italian vocalist talent to add to the list of favorites for me. I like it, though. It's a great piece, and it does shift the mood a bit. Well, not the mood. It shifts the key pattern expectancy off of Death Turns a Blind Eye and the Enigmatic sequel, because those have a bit of a thread to them. This does follow, though, in some similar pieces. It's kind of similar, but, oh, it's a good number. Independently, it's a great track. And we'll see, I'm sure, the legacy will continue on. In fact, with the subsequent number following this, Decadence Deepens Within. I love these names. That is track number 4, the follow-up to this. And we'll see where the album goes from here as we take our fulfilling journey together, the Pandemic Pandemonium sessions, in entirety witness. But what we've humored thus far now, 9 tracks in total. It's been a wonderful ride. I cannot wait to broaden out. That's a true expectancy to anything generally from Mortemia. I love hearing Morten Wieland's solo work, and to be introduced again via the Mortemia model to such noteworthy, capable talents in the European space is an absolute thrill ride, and one that I would not miss at all. And for Alessia, respective credit to every other artist that he's brought on. She is equally captivating. I'd love to hear more from her. Like I have given credit to other vocalists who've appeared. I think she's deserving of a grander witness someday. We'll see whenever that day appears, but I'm looking forward to the opportunity. Thank you so much for watching this video. Before you bounce, feel free to drop a like and comment, subscribe to this channel with a ding on the bell, and share this video with your friends. And consider checking out the description here. There you'll find links to my other channels, as well as addresses to my other social media accounts and ways you can help support my work if you feel so inclined. May God bless you, and looking forward to when our paths cross again.